So I'll introduce one of the speaker in the next session on transformational change through Accelerator. Sitara Fernandez is manager for strategy and purpose at Williams Engineering. And she will be speaking in the second part of the conference. So I'll let the video play for now. Speak soon.
Hello everyone, myself Shubhajit, and today our team is representing BSF for the YC program, where our primary goal is Sustainability Development Goal number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. For this, we have chosen our BSF Windsor paint plant, where our goal is to reduce the impact of wastewater. So our team is primarily composed of four members: Farhan, our reliability engineer at BSF Windsor plant; David Doshner, engineering manager at BSF Cornwall plant; Jeff Danko, taxation manager at our Mississauga head office; and myself, Shubhajit, process manager at BSF Livonia site. So for today's agenda, we are going to cover the challenge statement, brief background of our Windsor wastewater process, the alternative analysis, the proposal, and finally the sustainability benefits and the future path forward. So the challenge statement. So our team decided that in terms of responsible consumption and production, it would be the best to reduce the carbon footprint of the waste that is generated out of Windsor paint plant. And for that, our focus area was minimizing Windsor wastewater stream generated during the production process. Roughly, roughly 1,500 tons of wastewater is generated per year from the Windsor plant, which is almost equivalent to two Olympic swimming pools. Around 7.5% is highly volatile organic content, and roughly 2.5% is metals and other non-volatile materials. So a brief background of the Windsor wastewater process. So primarily the wastewater is generated from our production process while producing waterborne paints. Approximately 3/4 is generates from vessel and equipment cleaning during paint manufacturing, and the rest 25% comes from scrap paint material and other technical and quality activities. So these wastewater contain many hazardous chemical and metal residuals, and due to this, they have hazardous edge classification due to several highly flammable and volatile components in the wastewater stream. So currently the disposal process is basically all the wastewater generated goes into a single storage tank for transport via tanker truck, which is then incinerated by blending a rich fuel. This is obviously a significant environmental footprint, and not to mention the high cost that the production facility has to pay for disposing of the wastewater safely. One of the benefit that the incineration provides is like it ensures that the 100% of the hazardous chemical compounds are broken down into safe constituents before being discharged into the environment. So for alternative analysis, we have broadly classified this into two categories. First is reducing, reusing, and recycling, and the second one is waste processing. So while targeting reduction of wastewater, we are targeting minimizing the amount used for vessels cleaning, and preventing excess water from being used in wash cycles, eliminating any kind of leak into the wastewater storage tank, and finally decreasing any kind of quality errors and scrap paint generation. For reusing, we are trying to reuse any water for second wash cycle before wasting, so that would significantly reduce the amount of wastewater generated. For recycling, any kind of scrap paint is being evaluated for a second market where they can be sold at a cheaper rate. And finally, investigating potential for wastewater treatment instead of incineration. So the other second half is waste processing, which is basically looking into a different type of treatment, where we can use lagoons where active microbes such as algae, fungi, and other living organisms can decompose and degrade the hazardous material into safe constituents under aerobic and anaerobic conditions. This obviously is very sustainable, and but one of the disadvantage would be that it might not be the microbes might not be able to break down the chemicals into smaller constituents as the incineration.
Here are the treatment options that BASF has been looking into. The processing conditions and the hazard classification of Windsor's waste stream makes it difficult for the treatment facilities to accept the wastewater. After discussing with a few companies, US Ecology is currently capable of treating Windsor's L classified waste. We're looking at the reasoning behind the classification and if there's a possibility of segregating the waste stream based on the hazard classification. Clean Water Environmental currently treats our sister plant wastewater, who can potentially take on Windsor's wastewater as well. This option has high transport costs as well as cross-border transportation. Finally, we've evaluated the possibility of sending the wastewater to Cornwall BASF where they can treat the waste internally. For this to be successful, Windsor will have to invest in a filtration system to filter out the solid content in the waste prior to the shipment. The current challenges include volume, long truck routes, and registering Cornwall as a hazardous waste receiver. Our proposal is to send one truck of filtered wastewater to Cornwall for treatment and to work with the two external companies in terms of waste requirements to see if Windsor can meet the criteria of treating the wastewater over incineration. This has a potential impact of $86,000 to our costs and $900,000 in terms of environmental impact annually. The benefits of treating the wastewater include reduced environmental pollution, alleviated long-term health problems, improved the sustainability profile of the company as well as the image of the company in society, and recycling water back into the environment for a sustainable future. Our next steps are to continue exploring potential wastewater treatment over incineration, finalize the evaluation of both internal and external options that have the capability to treat the wastewater from Windsor, and finally to find an alternate market for scrap paint to reduce our wastewater generation altogether. So in summary, our goal is to reduce the carbon footprint of waste out of the Windsor BASF site. We've looked into reducing the overall waste generation, reusing cleaning solvents, recycling or donating the paint to alternative vendors, and to treat the wastewater over incineration. The proposed solution to help us achieve our goal is to send a portion of the filtered wastewater to Cornwall for treatment and to evaluate the possibility of segregating the wastewater based on classification to then send to the treatment facilities. The benefit of these avenues include a reduced carbon footprint of the site and a close to $900,000 in environmental impact savings along with $86,000 financially. Thank you for listening to the presentation on behalf of the BASF team.
I'm Satara Fernandez, and I'm responsible for the company's strategy and purpose at Williams Engineering Canada. At Williams Engineering, we brighten the lives of people in our communities by engineering sustainable cities that are safe, inclusive, and resilient. We do this by providing consulting engineering services for new construction projects and for existing buildings. 3 years ago, we went on a journey of discovering our company core purpose and found that the reason we get up and get to work every day is because every task and every choice of our day brightens the lives of people in our communities by giving them a space that is safe, inclusive, and resilient. Once we understood why we exist, we deconstructed parts of our purpose to identify how exactly we can target our impact in the communities that we serve. At this point, the company's CEO was working on understanding the UN SDGs as the chair of the Edmonton Airport. And he believed that we could find alignment with the UN SDG 11, which could guide our decision-making process in the company. I then took our executive team through the UN SDG Compass, and after further digging into how we can build sustainable communities, we found that UN SDG 5 to reduce gender inequality and UN SDG 10 to reduce inequalities were important rungs to focus on as well. After we went through this process, we saw the gender equality leadership in the Canadian private sector project as a great starting point. We saw this as the beginning of the impact that we could create in our communities by not just making some changes within the company, but also helping the larger community understand what needs to change and then define gender equality in the workplace in the Canadian context. In the STEM fields and in the consulting engineering industry, we find it particularly hard to attract and retain women, not just due to the usual imbalances at the workplace, but also because there are very few women entering into the STEM educational system. The standard industry targets that we researched didn't appear to really apply to how we worked as a company and appeared quite unattainable as well. The Target Gender Equality program felt like a good continuance of the previous program and a customized approach for setting targets in our industry. Through this program, we hope to be able to set realistic and attainable targets in the short and long term. As an industry with engineers who love to look at targets and concrete steps forward, we believe this program will give us the type of vision and structure to achieve an improved workplace. And hopefully that will ripple out to an improved community as well. Gender inequality is an important challenge to address, and all industries have their unique set of challenges they face. In our industry, we see our challenges start early on in the schooling system, where although there are a few programs encouraging young women to take up STEM fields in their careers, there isn't anything specific to engineering buildings and the physical infrastructure. At the schooling level, there is a lack of awareness of what exactly buildings engineering design is. We particularly find this lack in high schools as well as at critical points in engineering programs where there is no awareness for women to choose the consulting engineering industry as their career of choice. As a result, we see lesser women taking up the engineering consulting route versus the more popular robotics, AI, and software route. Also, as a mid-sized company, we don't have the resources to fund larger projects to provide awareness at the schooling level. This means that we need to find wins first within the organization level, which is what I believe the Target Gender Equality program will help us do over the next few years. I do believe that we have strength in numbers and can do more when different organizations in the system band together and unite resources to work towards the same goal. I hope that through this program, I'm able to meet similar-minded organizations who want to work together to achieve UN SDG 5 for Canada. At Williams Engineering, we have been working away on creating an inclusive workplace, whether remote or in the physical office, for a few years now. We've had a work from home policy for many years before the pandemic. The company has also been very inclusive in allowing parents or any other teammates to time shift their workday in a way that impacts the business the least and supports their lifestyle the best. Flexibility was in fact one of our core values before we felt that it had become an integral part of our existence, that we no longer found the need to have it as a core value. We instead now see it as being agile, a new core value. We encourage teammates to be agile in making the workplace an inclusive space to accommodate everyone's working lifestyle. Another strategic move to bake diversity into the core and to make it a non-negotiable is that we have included it as one of our 6 core values. Our core value is to encourage diverse perspectives and to create diverse solutions. The only real way we can encourage diverse perspectives is by having diversity present at the table. We also have a maternity salary top-up because we want young women engineers to consider having a career in our industry. In the last couple of years, we have gone through an audit of all of our job descriptions and of the content on our website and swapped it to make sure all of the language and tone was gender neutral. We did this to increase the number of women applying to our jobs and to improve the diversity of applicants in the pool. In certain situations where the team was lacking in diverse perspectives, we have also hired for diversity as well. We are currently working with our consultant Flip Learning to build an EDI strategy and to lead workshops within our organization to help each and every teammate understand why diversity is an important strategy. Their work with us is also helping us identify biases to make better choices every day. This year, we started a scholarship program for a woman student in the STEM fields who is interested in the area of study that our industry represents. And finally, my current favorite project is a research project where we are trying to identify what the lack of diversity at the table means for climate change solutions, since women are more impacted by the effects of climate change but aren't a part of creating the solutions to battle the effects of climate change. Because of this very reason, today we urgently need more women engineering for climate change. Although we are very purposeful in the company and we try to balance the lack of gender diversity within the industry by improving representation of women in other non-engineering service lines, there is still a huge amount of value that remains unclaimed at the table by not having enough female engineers.
Hello, everyone. I am Ayman Chaudhary, and I'm the head of Secretariat for the UN Global Compact Network Canada. I hope everyone is enjoying the conference so far today. In this session, we will explore the need to take ambitious action to support the SDGs and the concrete steps that companies can take to set ambitious corporate targets and accelerate integration of the SDGs into core business practice. This is what we call SDG ambition, and we look forward to sharing it with you. Today, the world is at crossroads. We as a global society made a commitment to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. However, we are falling behind as 700 million people are still living in poverty. Deforestation rates are higher now than in 2014, and we estimate over 200 years to close the economic gender gap. There is a critical performance gap between the action business is taking right now and the global and societal needs defined by the Sustainable Development Goals. This is even further exemplified by the fact that as of today, on an issue as urgent as climate, less than 1,000 companies are taking science-based climate action, and only around 450 companies in the world have approved science-based targets. The role of business is increasing in importance for achieving the SDGs. Companies must strive to move from incremental action where they compare themselves against the competition or against their own past performance, to transformative action, where they stretch themselves to set goals at the level of ambition required to deliver on the SDGs. However, we have heard from businesses worldwide that they struggle to find the best path forward to contribute to meeting the SDGs. In our last progress report, less than half of participating companies report that they are embedding the SDGs into their core businesses, and only 37% are designing business models to support them. Whether it's the knowledge to fully understand these problems, the tools to measure their effects, or the proper technologies needed to implement solutions, the SDG Ambition Accelerator is an effective guide to help bridge these gaps for businesses and create lasting progress on the 2030 agenda. To help businesses around the world, UN Global Compact, Accenture, 3M, and SAP have partnered together and created the SDG Ambition Accelerator program, which is a 6-month program where we guide companies through how to set ambitious targets in the form of benchmarks aligned with the SDGs, to develop an integration approach and plan, and explore how to leverage innovative and emerging technologies to take concrete action. We believe that the SDGs serve as an effective guide for the way forward, and that the SDG Ambition Accelerator is an incredible opportunity for businesses, both large and small, to take action on these goals through SDG ambition benchmarks that are absolute and align with their own objectives. Today, the question is no longer about why businesses should embrace sustainability. It is more about how they can embed sustainability into their core and extend it across their business network of suppliers, consumers, investors, and partners. The SDG Ambition Accelerator helps solve this problem. It helps business leaders jumpstart their initiative by providing a clear blueprint and step-by-step guide on how to use technology as the catalyst to deliver to the speed and scale that is necessary to move from ambition to action. It helps businesses, A, to strategically prioritize actions that will accelerate your company's contribution to the 2030 agenda. B, set targets aligned with the absolute benchmarks that today may seem aspirational, but are critical to spearhead the transformation of economies and societies. C, to approach sustainability management and design new systems integrating the SDGs. And finally, to build a business case and generate sustainability buy-in from your company. The SDG ambition benchmarks challenges organizations to set more ambitious goals and targets in areas where business is positioned to have a substantial impact. They represent lines in the sand of what we need to achieve and cover a number of key issue areas. I'll highlight just a couple, like gender balance across all levels of management, science-based emission reduction in line with the 1.5 degrees Celsius pathway, 100% sustainable material inputs that are renewable, recyclable, or usable, 100% of employees across the organization achieving a living wage, just a few of those. In order to come up with this initial set, we first identified areas where business action will be vital for achieving the SDGs by 2030. We then researched existing goal-setting practices, pulling from the best of current metrics, benchmarks, and scientific evidence. We selected areas that could be framed to be impact-oriented and absolute in nature with clear quantitative measurements. We also focused on areas that were broadly applicable across industries and geographies. Importantly, we hope to add to this initial list over time as science evolves and consensus is reached on the establishment of absolute thresholds in other areas, including human rights, nature, etc. And now that we do not expect this to be easy, if we fail to try to perform at the level we know we need to achieve, then we will continue to only make incremental progress. This is not sufficient to meet today's challenge. One thing we often hear is that our company is already well into our journey of working towards the SDGs. Why should we join this program? You should still consider to join this program because SDG ambition benchmarks span across topics that may have been previously unconsidered by your company. Also, it shapes current goals to be more ambitious and make them actionable and measurable. In addition, you can gain practical steps from UN Global Compact and Accenture experts to effectively implement your goals and track progress with the right metrics. And moreover, this program will allow you to speak with diverse companies around the world to hear about their challenges and their strategies to meet sustainable development goals. In June this year, we celebrated our first cohort class of over 600 companies that participated in the accelerator through our local networks with support from the local facilitators from Accenture. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, with a more than 90% satisfaction rate from participants. Better yet, 87% of these participants told us the program helped identify new areas for their companies to contribute to the SDGs. There are gaps that exist between ambition and action, but we have seen firsthand that bridging these gaps is possible. We need all companies, those that are just starting out and those that are already advanced in their sustainability journey, to think critically about the ways that their business can align with the level of ambition that the SDGs call for. In order to deliver on the SDGs by 2030, we need to be more ambitious in our strategies to achieve the goals. We need to go deeper in our implementation and integration of these goals across our organizations. And we need to speed up our efforts in this regard. We challenge you to respond to this call and join the SDG Ambition Accelerator to transfer your sustainability commitments into concrete and meaningful action. So hopefully by now, you should all have a good understanding of the context and objectives behind SDG Ambition. Here in Canada, we are excited to be one of the local networks running the SDG Ambition Accelerator to participants locally. This program is exclusive only for the UN Global Compact participants and signatories. So if you are interested in joining UN Global Compact or learning more about how to join and get the benefit of joining this program, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is included on this slide here, you can see. Although the deadline on the program, the official deadline of the program has passed, but we can still accept a few applications until October 15. So if you're interested in joining this program, please do reach out to me as early as possible, and I can assure you to try my best to get you in this program. Thank you so much for attending the session. Looking forward to meeting you very soon. Take care. Take care.